I'm in the historic courtroom in the St. Joseph County Courthouse. And yesterday, April 21st, was the first day that district court proceedings had ever been held in this courtroom. And it's the first day in many, many years that any court was held in this courtroom. This courthouse was built in 1900. They started in 1899. The cornerstone was laid, and the courthouse was dedicated in August of 1900 and started to hold court at that time. The courthouse contained the circuit court and the probate court. There was no district court at that time. And the circuit court was shared with Branch County, at least Branch County. We didn't have a St. Joseph County circuit judge. We had a St. Joseph County probate judge. The circuit judge served in two counties, and it was originally Theo Jacobs, at least in this century. There were some others before that, but into the maybe 30s, the last 100 years, Judge Theo Jacobs, Judge Mark Andrews, Judge Robert E.A. Boyle, who presided in this courtroom when he was first elected, Judge James Noecker, Judge Paul Stutzman. That is the circuit court chronology. And this was the circuit courtroom. The new courthouse, well, there was an earlier courthouse on this spot in the village square in Centerville. It was built in 1842. Michigan became a state in 1831. I think Centerville was incorporated near that time. In 1842, a courthouse was built on this grounds. We have some pictures of it. There's a mural of it in the hallway that was painted by someone in the 20s or 30s. It had two outside restrooms. At any rate, that building was torn down, and this building was built, as I said, in 1900. It served as the county courthouse for all of that time, and till the early 70s, when there was an effort to build a new courthouse. And that is what has become to be known as the Courts Building. And that is located immediately adjacent to this. It's a big square box they plopped down there and opened in 1975. Held all four courts: district court, probate court, circuit court. There were only three judges at that time. And this courtroom was closed down in 1975. So there was one trial in here that I conducted when I was prosecuting attorney in the mid-90s on a pyramid scheme case. We had a visiting judge from Van Buren County. He said he would come if he could try the case in here. And so we did, and I tried the case according to the Attorney General as the first pyramid scheme case that had been tried in Michigan in anybody's memory. Defendant was convicted. There were two of them. Anyway, Judge Stutzman, a time or two, did jury selection in here in large cases, murder cases that required lots of jurors to be brought in. So they did use the courtroom. But from 1975 to 1995 or 96, this room was all in disrepair. The roof leaked. They had some 2x4 offices built in the back. It was in very poor condition. And a previous county commission decided in the 90s that they would refurbish this historical court building. And they did an excellent job. They had a good plan. They set up a shell building, and they moved all the county staff that was housed in this building to that shell. They completed the construction. They were very careful with historical accuracy. The wallpaper you see behind me was actually hand painted by the ladies from Three Rivers Floor Cloths. And there are a number of their pieces of artwork here in the building. There is a judicial seal up higher. You can't see it. It's also stenciled on the wall. They did meticulous care with restoring the old furniture. I'll show that to you in a little bit. The original courthouse chairs were all taken and professionally redone. And this was then used as the county commission chambers from 1995 or so. I mean, 1995 until present day. The county commissioners use this as their meeting space, and it is a appropriate space for that use. The courthouse that was built in 1975 is now more than 50 years old, and it is in shabby state. So the county commission once again decided it was time to refurbish it. So in the last 4 years, they bought a building in Three Rivers, and they refurbished that, and they moved the probate court, the friend of the court, and some other county services to Three Rivers. And now they are refurbishing what was previously known as the courts building. It's going to have better security, better plumbing, better mechanicals, better everything. It will be essentially new, $12.5 million. And it's a ghost town full of activity over there. All the officers are stripped bare, dirty carpet, dirty walls, water's turned off. The workers are over there now and working on it. They did hang my nameplate on this bench, but it's hung too low for anybody to see it. So maybe we'll pull it up so it's visible to the members of the audience, but not on the camera. So in order to facilitate the construction of the courts building, it was determined by the commission, by the builders, by the building manager that it would be better if we could completely empty that building. So it would go faster and be easier to do. And then it turned out where they really couldn't do it unless everybody was out of there. So I got a higher chair. I felt like I needed a booster seat, but I think we're going to agree this one will be adequate. So Judge Pattison and I will be sharing this courtroom as a district courtroom. We also have a very small hearing room, which is outside of Judge Pattison's office. And he is operating out of there, and we'll both be sharing it. We both have offices on this floor. What was previously Judge Boyle's office behind me is now the jury room. In the days this court was used, it was certainly a different time, same place, but different time. The lawyers would come into town for the terms of court. In those days, and even when I first started in 1980, the circuit court ran on terms. They had a January, April, July, and October term of court. And they would call all the cases on the first day of the term of court. The lawyers would come into town, many of them on a train from Sturgis to Wasippi, of all places, which is really in the middle of nowhere. And then they would take a carriage from Wasippi to the Centerville House, the hotel that's kitty corner from the court square. And they would stay there, and then all the lawyers would come in and they would start to conduct their business. As I understood it, it was everything. Civil matters, criminal matters, divorces. They would address them on the first day of the term of court and maybe schedule what needed to be done after that. And those were the lawyers that were here before us. Most of the lawyers that practiced here have passed away. Our two senior members of the bar are Pat O'Malley from Three Rivers and Howard Bush from Constantine. Howard was born in 1941. I believe he actually may have practiced in this courtroom. Judge Noacker was a prosecutor in this courtroom. And many of our attorneys that preceded us, like the Ray Dresser Sr., who was president of the state bar, Rotary governor, practiced in here. Ray Dresser Jr., who was a fine attorney in Sturgis, practiced in here. Leonard Weiner, Dick Wade, Leonard Bullard, the attorneys that preceded me, they'd all be over 100 if they were still living. They practiced in this courthouse and this courtroom. And things were certainly more genteel then. They didn't hold court in the summertime. It was too hot. They didn't have any air conditioning. So if they could avoid it, they didn't try any cases in the summertime. Judge McManus came to St. Joseph County in, I believe, 1963 from Lenawee County. And he became the county prosecutor. He was young at that time. And when I took over as prosecutor's office, he had a box that said felonies, 1963 to 1969. Had about 20 cases in it. The whole box held 6 years worth of felonies. Well, it's a different world that we live in today. And it was gentler and quieter, but not always, because you could go to prison for things like stealing something out of somebody's garage. It was a harsh time too, particularly if you were of color. The district court was created by the Michigan legislature and courts. I believe the Constitution of 1969 created the district court and did away with the justices of the peace. So they had to find a place for the district court, which was what's now in the historic room. All of my staff, Judge Pattison and my staff, is now housed in that room. It's full of books on shelves. They did carpet it to protect the floor. And for the next year and a half or so, they'll be operating out of there. There were some famous cases tried here over the years, homicide cases, and we didn't have very many, maybe one every several years. And there was a homicide here in Centerville in the 60s, I think, that was tried in here. There was a famous case from Detroit that was tried here in the 70s, about 1972, maybe 71. Anthony Giacalone, who was at that time believed to be the head of the Detroit crime family, had a change of venue. I believe he was charged with possession of a bludgeon, which is an obscure statute that encompasses like a blackjack or a sap. He was charged with that, and the venue was changed, and they sent the matter out to Centerville to be tried. And somebody came either from the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office or the Attorney General's office. And I think Judge Boyle tried it. Well, maybe he wasn't here yet. Anyway, maybe they brought a judge from Detroit. Anyway, they had a trial, a jury trial in here regarding Anthony Giacalone and his possession of a bludgeon. And I believe he was convicted. Anyway, that's the history that precedes me and precedes Judge Pattison and precedes everybody that's going to follow. So it's certainly going to be a inconvenient time while we're all crammed into a small amount of space for the next year and a half or so, maybe 2 years. But it's a privilege to be in this historic courtroom where people that practiced before me, lawyers, judges, prosecutors, defense attorneys, people I knew, Michael Gergley practiced in this courtroom. Cordell Jones, Judge McManus, many of the older lawyers that I had a lot of respect for practiced in here. So now it's our privilege to be able to utilize this courtroom for the next couple of years while they modernize and securitize our old courtroom. This courthouse is not very handicap accessible. It's not particularly user friendly in some aspects. There's only one small elevator and the steps are quite steep. And but we're going to do it for the next several years. My tenure will end on December 31st. It will be somebody else's turn. And the filing deadline to file for a 3B district court judge was yesterday at 4 o'clock. So the only person to file was certainly a qualified candidate, Mr. Tim George, who has support of all the other 4 judges, has been designated as the only candidate for my seat. So it certainly appears that Tim George is going to be the judge to succeed me, and he has my support. So I'll try not to make too much of a mess of things for him before I go. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys a little historical sense, and anybody can watch this for anything. I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to turn it around. You might not want to be in this shot. I'm going to show what the part of the courtroom that you can't see looks like. You see a portion of the courtroom. They've got that screen over there. So they've got ugly tech mixed with historical context. There's also too many chairs in here. There's boxes of stuff. We're still working on it. I'm going to take the camera and let you see the part of the courtroom that you can't see. Not working. Maybe it's a bit of a delay. They've hung the pictures of Judge Welty and Judge McManus. There's what is going to be the jury box. There are the windows that shine in here. It's hard to do this because it's not on real time, but that is the part of the courtroom that you can't see. And behind that, to the right of that picture, is where the jury room is. So I've got lots of bright windows, lots of sunshine, and it'll be hot in the summer and cold in the winter, I suspect. We did not have any other court today. At least I didn't. This would have been a jury day, and we didn't schedule any jury trials because of the move. I have jeans and a work shirt on. I put a tie on for this purpose, but I'm moving finally to get completely moved in. I brought Tim George in this morning and said, here's what your office is going to look like. And I wish him all the best. So for the next 8 months or so, we'll be in here. Judge Patterson and I will be sharing it. From time to time, I will be using the small courtroom. See how that goes. And so thank you, everyone. I let the comments run. Prisoner transport is not ideal. You'll be seeing some as we work through our issues. This is only the second day we've been here. We're working on it. And maybe I'll talk about some of the other questions later. But anyway, that is that's it. All right, I didn't make a record of this, just the YouTube video. All right, thank you all for taking your time. I don't expect to be back on the record today because we didn't have anything immediate custody. Tomorrow, I'm going to Berrien County. I'll be at the Niles Courthouse on a case that I was specially assigned to in that county, and I'll be back in the afternoon for our court. So thank you all. Everybody have a good day wherever you are. And I did have a first line, but I guess we'll save it for tomorrow. All right. For those of you that live here, maybe that's a little historical update. For those of you that don't, that's a little visit to the county courthouse in St. Joseph County.
What we just witnessed wasn't a dramatic courtroom showdown, but something equally important: the foundation of the legal system itself. This judge didn't just explain logistics. He gave us a rare look into how courts evolve over time, from outdated buildings and limited resources to modern upgrades designed for efficiency and security. The transition to a historic courtroom highlights a key reality. Justice doesn't just happen in rulings, it's shaped by infrastructure, history, and the people behind the bench. And as we saw, even something as simple as a renovation can impact how cases are handled and experienced. Now, let me ask you, do you think the environment of a courtroom affects the fairness or perception of justice? Or is it all about the law no matter where it's practiced?